This video is brought to you by these YouTube members. Thank you guys so much for your continued support. Can you believe it's been almost 2 years since I did the last top 10 Rukia? Since then, we've had a few more added to the game, and some of the old ones have even been resurrected. So I figured why not go for it again. As always, keep in mind this is my opinion, and obviously opinions will vary. If you do enjoy this video, be sure to drop a like, and let me know what other characters you want to see top 10s of. So that said, let's begin.
参ります。新年の祝いの舞、どうぞお楽しみください。
Kicking off the list, we have the New Year's version of Rukia. Now, last time I did this list, the first several Rukias were really just not good. For this list, however, we start off with a pretty decent Rukia. Not great by any means, but honestly pretty alright. She has a really high SP, she has Frenzy, and decent range on her strong attacks, with a lunge move strong attack 1, a full screen strong attack 3, and a very unique strong attack 2. Those who have never used her will confuse this strong attack 2 for a self vortex, because it is technically correct. But unlike every other self vortex in the game, this one lasts about half the time of a normal one, but it does inflict more damage. Not to mention, unlike other self-surrounding vortexes, this one comes back at the regular 16 seconds instead of 24, since it's more meant for damage than stalling or staggering. This Rukia also has a boosted 25% stamina recovery soul trait, and she's completely immune to being paralyzed. Honestly, she's kind of a forgettable unit, since she doesn't really stand out, and there are so many other better options. Still, the fact that she's the only character with her type of strong attack 2 makes her one of the more unique characters in the game.
挽回八下の咎め、これが私の残白刀の真の力だ。
Now you know we have a major improvement in Rukias when Manga Rukia is at number 9. And don't let the number 9 fool you, it just means we have good Rukias in the game, it doesn't mean this character is bad. It's actually very good, with a really high SP, Frenzy, a strong attack damage link, and really good range on her strong attacks. She's got a lunge move strong attack 1, a hybrid vortex move strong attack 2, and a full screen strong attack 3. All of her attacks can inflict debilitating freeze, and in addition to dealing it, she's also completely immune to it. In fact, she was actually the first character to be completely immune to a single status element by means of abilities, so non-boosted soul traits. Finally, we have her special. It not only guarantees freeze, but it also leaves her behind with a vortex move that surrounds her. That is technically still part of her special, so is affected by any ability that increases the amount of damage specials deal, such as Shintai. I'm honestly really looking forward to her resurrection, because while I do really like this character and do think she's pretty good, I can definitely see some room for improvement. Honestly, I just want her to have a strong attack recharge link.
世はすべてこともなし。いさかいはこの風で吹き消してやろう。
Next up is one of the more useful Rukias in the entire game, the Spirit Society version of Rukia. I really like this character, not only for her design, since it's really beautiful, but also because she's completely contradictory to the original character. All of her attacks can inflict debilitating burn, and Rukia is typically an ice-type character. But that's what makes her super useful. Even by today's standards, she's one of the best characters to take against bosses. Since, like I said, everything she has can inflict debilitating burn, but it's also very likely to inflict it. Not only is her normal attack ranged and piercing, but her strong attacks all hit more than the average number of times for strong attacks. Her strong attack 1 is a 180 max strong attack that splits off in 3 directions, pushing enemies back, great for crowd control, though not that great for damage. Her strong attack 2 is a crawling vortex move that hits multiple times and forces enemies back, really good against bosses and again crowd control, though a bit slow. And her strong attack 3 is a hybrid vortex move that gathers enemies in one spot and then hits them one final time. All these attacks have a very high chance of inflicting burn and are all really good for keeping enemies away, which is what you want for a ranged character, though it does make her a bit slower. Finally, there's her special. Not only does it inflict burn, but it also inflicts weaken attack, which, while not as good as weaken defense, is still nice to have in addition to all that damage.
Jingle bell, jingle bell, hoo 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 hoo. 月の明かりでチャッピーが舞うのだ。
Next up is a character that got moved up in the rankings since last time due to her resurrection, the Christmas version of Rukia. Thanks to the boost in stats, she is now tied with the second highest SP of all Rukias. In addition to that, she's got a full stamina damage link of 20% and Frenzy. Now when she got resurrected, she also got a stamina recovery soul trait of 16%, which does help her maintain her health to get that extra 20% boost. We've also got a strong attack 2 that's a barrier move that also greatly helps. All of her attacks, with the exception of this barrier move, can inflict debilitating freeze, and they all have really good range. The lunge move strong Strong Attack 1 and a full screen Strong Attack 3. Now as expected with the barrier move character, you are gonna have to use your normal attacks since that barrier move can't be spammed like the others, especially with this character since she doesn't have a Strong Attack recharge ability. Luckily for her, she's got a pretty decent attack stat for a high SP character, along with long reach and a plus 40 bruiser. Finally we have her special. Not only is it the greatest thing ever made since it's Rukia singing Jingle Bells, but it also deals more damage than the average special, since it not only has the plus 40 devastation, but she also gets extra damage if her health is full thanks to her link, and it also now inflicts weakened defense, something she didn't have before her resurrection. I do wish she would have gotten some sort of berserker or strong attack recharge ability, but even without it, she's still a very solid character even by today's standards. Next up we have the other Rukia tied with the second highest SP for Rukias, the original Dark Rukia, or Movie 3 Rukia, whichever you prefer. In addition to that high SP, she's also got Frenzy, a strong attack recharge link, and now, after resurrected, a strong attack damage link, effectively making her one of the best links in the entire game, and definitely helping her out in the ranking here. This Rukia also has the highest attack for any Rukia, which is impressive considering she's an SP character, and she's got a plus 40 bruiser, along with long reach. All of her attacks can inflict debilitating weakening, which is great because it also helps with damage, and she's got some pretty good range on her strong attacks, with a lunge move Strong Attack 1, a beam shot Strong Attack 2, and a charge move Strong Attack 3. That granted is only decent range when it's fully charged, and even then it's not full screen, but it is pretty close. It is double damage though, so it's very impressive, and I would say it could potentially deal more damage than her special, but her special is also really good. Not only is it full screen and she has devastation at 40, but it also inflicts weakening, which increases the damage, and also inflicts weakened defense, which increases the damage even more. All in all, I still think she could have benefited from Havoc, especially with the charge move Strong Attack, but even without it, she's a solid character. I'm sure most people will use her as a link, but I'd say she holds up really well on her own.
前袖の白雪次の舞白蓮
Next up we have what I like to call the vanilla version of Rukia. Admittingly, I don't remember the banner name where she came out, but she's not a seasonal or a future version of Rukia, so vanilla it'll have to be. This Rukia is really good. She's got a really high SP, she's got Frenzy, boosted strong tech recharge link of 14%, Berserker at 20%, increasing the damage of her strong attacks, and all of her attacks, with the exception of her strong attack 2, can inflict debilitating freeze. Her strong attack 2 can inflict debilitating paralysis, which yeah, is essentially the same thing, but it is nice to have options when enemies are immune. Now she may not have Havoc, but she does have some excellent range on strong attacks, with the beam shot strong attack 1, which is the best possible strong attack 1, a strong attack 2 that hits a large area in front of her, and a full screen strong attack 3. As I mentioned, her link is boosted so she can spam these attacks faster than other characters, and in addition to being able to deal freeze with most of her attacks, she's also completely immune to it. Aside from that, that's pretty much it. She hits hard, has great range. You don't need much more than that.
ずいぶん待たせてしまったな。さあ、受け取れ。
Next up is one of my favorite Rukias in the entire game, and definitely my favorite design for one, the Desert Society version of Rukia. This Rukia has a really high SP as well as Berserker at 20% and Frenzy. She's also got a strong attack recharge ability, and all of her attacks have a chance to inflict debilitating weakening, with her strong attack 1 being a lunge move, her strong attack 2 hitting a large area in front of her, and her strong attack 3 being a charge move. While it doesn't have the range of a full screen attack, it does get pretty close when fully charged. And even if it's not, it does have better range than other charge moves have when they're not charged. This Rukia also has Sprinter at 2, making it easier for her to move around and dodge specials. And she's also a potion drop character, making her one of the more valuable characters in the game. Finally, there's her link. As I mentioned, she has a strong attack recharge ability, but her link is Last Ditch Survival, which is basically an extra life, something that's very useful for a potion drop character to have. I know they skipped Desert Society last year, but I really hope it's not the last we see of it. As I said, this is my favorite design for this character, and I would love to see others in the same theme.
行くぞ。このビッグウェーブを乗り。綺麗だな。
Something they'll seemingly never skip is the swimsuit versions of the characters, and I'm honestly surprised it took up till last year to get a swimsuit version of Rukia, a 5-star version anyway, especially when Nemu, Retsu, Soifon, Yororichi, Orihime, and Halibel all have 2 versions of them. Probably missed one somewhere, but I digress. This Rukia is really good. She's got a really high SP, Berserker at 20%, a boosted strong attack recharge link, which seems to be a thing for Rukia, Frenzy, Guard Break, and Havoc at 20. The last 3 alone are enough to make a really good character. This character has that, and she can inflict debilitating paralysis on all of her attacks, including a lunge move strong attack 1, hybrid vortex move strong attack 2, which we'll get to in just a second, and beyond full screen strong attack 3. Now thanks to the Havoc, all these attacks have really good range, but the one that benefits the most is her strong attack 2. It's a hybrid vortex move that gathers enemies to her and then pushes them back. The closer they are to her, the more damage it deals. The Havoc greatly helps with this since it improves the area where it does most damage, and the attack itself hits multiple times, greatly increasing the chance of inflicting paralysis. Now the attack damage isn't consistent because of the kind of attack it is. That said, having Havoc makes it a lot easier for her to deal some decent damage. Finally, to top off an already amazing character, she's also completely immune to being both burnt and poisoned. Next up, we have the second version of Dark Rukia. This Rukia has a really high SP as well as Berserker at 20%, a strong attack recharge link, Havoc, and Frenzy. Much like the other one, she can also inflict debilitating weakening on all of her attacks, though she can deal 20% more damage to any enemy that is weakened. And if that enemy just so happens to be a Power Soul Reaper, she's 10% more likely to inflict weakening with each hit, making her one of the best characters to take on Power Soul Reapers. And she can hit a lot. Her strong attack 1 is a shave shot move, her strong attack 2 is a hybrid vortex move that gathers enemies in one spot before hitting them one final time, and her strong attack 3 is beyond full screen. Now she may not have sharpshooter, but she does have the ability to nullify ranged resistances, letting her participate in events that she otherwise wouldn't be able to because she's ranged. Finally, this character is also completely immune to being burnt. Honestly, this banner came as a surprise. I was not expecting a remake for movie characters. I do think there's some they can still remake, so I think there's a chance we're gonna see some more this year. I for one hope for Yin and Yang.
挽回八下の咎めこれでとどめだ
And finally, and you probably saw this coming, at number 1, we have the Captain version of Rukia, who has the highest SP on this list along with the Berserker at 60%, Frenzy, a strong attack recharge link, Havoc at 20%, and the ability to inflict debilitating freeze on all of her attacks. And if that 60% Berserker wasn't enough, she also deals an additional 20% damage with all of her attacks if the enemy is frozen, which for her is very likely. This is because she's a Bankai transformation character, who has the ability to transform every 30 seconds for 20 seconds, the first 10 of which she has Disabler as an ability, increasing the chance of inflicting freeze by 10% per hit, which all but guarantees an enemy is going to be frozen. Now in addition to that, for this 20-second transformation, she actually gets a boost in her attacks. Ordinarily they have a 120% magnification, but when transformed, they have a 150 magnification. To sum things up, she can hit way harder than a regular 60% Berserker character, which already hits extremely hard. Not to mention the range on her attacks is really good. She's got a lunge move strong attack 1, a strong attack 2 that hits very near full screen, and a beyond full screen strong attack 3. This Rukia also recovers 20% of her health anytime she enters a new area, and she's completely immune to being both frozen and weakened. Finally, she's got 2 killers, a Varankar and a Spada, making her especially good against the latter. Honestly, my only complaint about this character is that she doesn't have the side ponytail. But if the manga continues like it's looking like it will, I'm sure we'll get one eventually. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, hit like and subscribe to the channel, and stay tuned for some more top 10 lists.